A room full of glowing phones can look like an audience. Each screen plays, scrolls, follows, rates, or taps. But the crowd is an illusion. Behind dozens or hundreds of devices may be one operator, one customer, and one goal: make something appear more popular than it really is. That is the core contradiction of a phone farm. It turns physical hardware into manufactured attention. The numbers on the screen may be real as database entries, yet false as evidence of public interest. And once those numbers are displayed beside a name, a product, or an idea, they can start influencing genuine people. The phrase phone farm is informal. It usually describes racks or tables of real smartphones managed together at scale. Multi-device labs can have legitimate uses, including testing apps across different hardware. The abuse begins when the devices are used to impersonate independent people or to create artificial signals. In that role, phone farms overlap with click farms, bot networks, and account farms. The machinery can differ, but the product is the same: activity that looks organic from the outside and coordinated from the inside. The distinction matters because not every wall of phones is fraudulent, and not every fake audience requires a wall of phones. A phone farm is one tool inside the broader economy of engagement manipulation. Why use real phones at all? Because a smartphone produces the same basic environment as a genuine user: a mobile operating system, an app installation, sensors, network connections, and account sessions. That does not make the activity invisible, and it does not guarantee that platforms will count it. It only gives operators another way to generate large volumes of actions. Some systems rely on automation, some on paid workers, and some on a mixture of both. The visible wall of devices is just one layer in a much larger market for synthetic attention. Accounts must exist, tasks must be assigned, results must be recorded, and customers must be shown that an order was delivered. The farm is less like a crowd and more like a production line, turning repeated gestures into sellable metrics. Explain the commercial model without prices, vendors, or instructions. Narration: customers usually are not buying a phone farm. They are buying an outcome. A seller offers a quantity of views, followers, likes, downloads, ratings, comments, or reviews. The buyer pays for the number, while the seller decides how to produce it. Orders can be resold through layers of brokers, so the storefront, the operator, and the devices may all belong to different people. This distance makes the market look like ordinary digital promotion. But the transaction is not purchasing an interested audience. It is purchasing the appearance of one. The product can be packaged as fast growth, reputation management, app promotion, or social proof. The language changes, but the basic exchange remains: money goes in, a visible counter moves, and no genuine community has necessarily formed. That appearance can have real value. High numbers can make a creator look established, an app look trusted, a product look popular, or a post look important. People use these signals as shortcuts. We assume that a crowded restaurant is worth entering and that a widely shared video is worth watching. Online, the crowd can be fabricated before real people arrive. Artificial engagement can also interfere with ranking and recommendation systems, which often use behavior as one input among many. The fake signal does not need to fool everyone. It only needs to create enough momentum, credibility, or doubt to change what real users do next. A suspicious follower may never buy anything, but the follower count can still affect a sponsor. A fake review may not persuade every shopper, but it can raise an average rating that thousands of shoppers see. Platforms do not rely on a single giveaway. 100 phones in one room may share infrastructure, but sophisticated operations can spread activity across time, accounts, and networks. Detection therefore combines signals. Systems can examine the age and history of accounts, repeated action sequences, synchronized timing, unusual rates of activity, duplicated comments, shared technical identifiers, and clusters of accounts that repeatedly move together. Meta has described machine learning systems that classify fake accounts and use relationships in the social graph because an account can look ordinary in isolation while a coordinated network is harder to imitate at scale. Other platforms describe automated systems, policy enforcement, and human review without publishing every feature. The goal is not to prove that one tap was fake. It is to decide whether a pattern of accounts, devices, and actions represents independent people or one concealed operation. The important word is pattern. One like proves almost nothing. Thousands of accounts behaving with the same rhythm can reveal a common controller. Researchers studying like farms found that fraudulent accounts often reshared more material, used fewer words, repeated comments, and produced social activity that differed from ordinary users. Platforms can combine those behavioral clues with graph analysis, automated models, reports, and human investigation. The exact thresholds are kept private because publishing a detection recipe would help manipulators adapt. Enforcement can include discounting traffic, removing fake followers, limiting distribution, suspending accounts, or taking down entire networks. Sometimes the action is invisible to the public, a view simply fails to count. Sometimes it is obvious, a page loses followers overnight. And sometimes investigators trace many apparently separate accounts back to the same coordinated cluster. The arms race is imperfect. Some farms are crude and noisy. Others try to imitate normal behavior, making detection slower and less certain. False positives are also costly. A viral event, a fan campaign, a classroom, or a shared workplace can generate concentrated activity without fraud. That is why platforms usually evaluate combinations of evidence rather than one suspicious feature. It also explains why public counters can change. YouTube says artificial traffic may not be counted, and accounts identified as spam can be removed from totals. A number on screen is not a permanent audit. It is a platform estimate that may be revised. The same uncertainty works in the other direction. A metric that remains visible has not necessarily been certified as authentic. Detection systems operate at enormous scale, and some manipulation can survive long enough to influence real users before enforcement arrives. Consequences extend beyond vanity. Fake reviews can distort purchasing decisions. Artificial downloads can make an app look safer or more useful than it is. Inflated followers can influence sponsorship deals, media coverage, and public perception. In the United States, the Federal Trade Commission's Consumer Review Rule, effective October 21, 2024, prohibits the sale or purchase of certain fake reviews and testimonials and allows civil penalties for knowing violations. Platform policies separately prohibit artificial engagement. But rules do not erase the economic incentive. Wherever attention can be converted into money, access, or legitimacy, someone will try to counterfeit it. The harm is distributed. Advertisers pay for audiences that may not exist. Honest creators compete against inflated rivals. Consumers make choices using corrupted signals. Platforms spend more resources separating real activity from manufactured noise. So what should an ordinary user trust? Not one metric by itself. Look for consistency between views, comments, audience quality, credible reviews, outside reporting, and the history of the account or product. Sudden popularity can be real, but popularity is not proof of quality, truth, or even human interest. A million views can describe many different realities: a cultural moment, paid advertising, accidental exposure, coordinated fandom, or manipulation. The number alone cannot tell you which one happened. Phone farms expose a deeper weakness in the digital world. Platforms summarize millions of complicated actions into simple numbers, and people treat those numbers as social reality. The critical failure is not merely that machines can fake a crowd. It is that we have learned to trust the crowd before asking who is actually in it. Subscribe for more stories about the hidden systems shaping the digital world.